Hey, fourth graders. So for today, we're going to be talking about how to write mixed numbers as decimals. So let's review from last week. Here we have the fraction 7/10, or we can say 70 hundredths. To write as a decimal, well, we don't have any whole numbers, so we put a zero in the ones place. There are 7 rods or 7 columns shaded, so that means we have 7/10, so the 7 goes into the tens place. There are no hundredths or single cubes shaded, so 0 will go in the hundredths place. To write this as a decimal, write 0.7, but we pronounce that just like we say the fraction, 7/10. Let's try another one. So here we have 2 hundredths. We don't have any whole numbers, so to write it as a decimal, a 0 will go in the ones place. And then we don't have any tenths. As you can see, there are no columns or 10 rods shaded. So a 0 is going to go in the tens place. We have 2 hundredths or 2 single cubes shaded. So we would write the digit 2 in the hundredths place. To write this as a decimal, we would write this as 0.02. But to pronounce it, we would pronounce it just like we do the fraction, 2 hundredths. Here we have the mixed number. This is 3 and 5 tenths. Here's what it would look like if we had a visual. The number 3 is a whole number. So here we have 3 holes and they're both all completely shaded. Then we have the fraction 5 tenths. That can be represented with the pictures you see here. To write this as a decimal, well, we do have something to put in the ones place now because we have 3 holes. So a 3 will go in the ones place. And then we have to think about how many tenths are there. Well, if you look over here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rods or columns shaded. So a 5 would go in the tenths place. There are no hundredths, so a 0 would take that place. To write this 3 and 5 tenths fraction as a decimal, we would write it as 3.5. But again, we pronounce it just like you would the fraction, 3 and 5 tenths. Here we have the mixed number 3 and 2 tenths. Again, as a picture, we would have 3 holes, they're completely shaded. And then we would write the 3 in the ones place. Then we look at our fraction, 2 tenths, which can be represented as this picture. We have how many tenths? Well, we have 2 tenths, so a 2 would go in the tenths place. We have no hundredths, so we put a 0 there. So to write this as a decimal would be 3.2. Here we have 5 and 29 hundredths. Well, as you can see, we have 5 holes, and then we have 2 tenths, so a 2 would go in the tenths place. And then over here, we don't have another column shaded or rod shaded, so that is not another tenth, it's just 9 hundredths. So we would write a 9 in the hundredths place. To say this, you would say it 5 and 29 hundredths. Here we have a decimal number. Go ahead and see if you can say how you would pronounce this decimal out loud. So how to do this, we first look at our whole numbers or the digits to the left of the decimal. Well, we have the number 46, and then we come to the decimal. When you come to see a decimal, you always use the word and. Then you look at your decimal number, which is 7. The 7 is in the hundredths place, so that would be 7 hundredths. So we say this is 46 and 7 hundredths. Here we have a decimal number. Again, we're going to look at the 2, which is the whole number. We come to our decimal, so we say the word and then we consider the decimal number. Well, the decimal number is 5, and it's in the hundredths place, so we say that would be 5 hundredths. So this decimal would be read as 2 and 5 hundredths, and this is how you would write it in fraction form. So your assignment today is you're going to be doing assignment on Classkick. You will have 4 slides. A couple of them are just review from last week, and the last 2 or just to see if you can represent mixed numbers as decimals and as with a model. Good luck.